welcome to the new session for the Code Pills. If somebody doesn't know me, my name is Julio Robles. I'm a solution architect here in Arroyo. So the idea with this session is try to see a little bit related with this kind of topic. We will discuss about the GitHub Copilot. And the idea with this is a little introduction about this feature. This is coordinated with the backend and the AI practice team. Okay, so go ahead. First of all, I want to discuss a little bit what is this thing. Okay, what is Copilot and how it works exactly, and how we can install it, and what I can do with this, and the most important thing here, that this is free. Okay. With this session, I will be try to discuss what is Copilot. It is Copilot is something like a peer programming feature. It's a characteristic that was included 2 years ago for Microsoft. That was introduced into a tool that you can get some repositories element, and you can get what is the best implementation for a couple of asking things that you have. The previous version was in a trial, so you can include your session. You have your GitHub account linked to this implementation, and yeah, as a couple of things that maybe we can validate later. Okay, Copilot is like I mentioned, is a feature, but it's including works with the OpenAI. As you know, OpenAI is the company that the creator for the ChatGPT. That the Microsoft has a big part of that company, and in especially this thing, there are subset of the OpenAI that is related with the coding. That's the OpenAI Codex. Okay, so in this case, that you have to be you have to know that here is more related with how you are using this implementation through your IDE. Okay, so there are many other versions of Copilot. There are Copilot 365 that you can include with the old Office implementation. Even do you have to generate some reports, create another kind of topics, but is that not included in this presentation? Okay, for this site is only I will be on a touch about the implementation using Visual Studio, not Visual Studio Code, but the implementation and the use is similar. Okay, so next, how Copilot works? Well, it's a very simple communication. When you are install the extension for the Copilot, you are including some callings to the OpenAI Codex, and this review the repositories, searching into GitHub what is the best implementation that he can suggest. There are a couple of implementation on these things, but you are connecting directly with a GitHub Copilot service. Even you can use Copilot as per se. I mean, you can create a Copilot client and inside the code and that things, and you can use Copilot as a service, a connection. You can program in Copilot callings, not into the code. I mean, you can create a code that uses Copilot to generate your code. It's something like that. That implementation begins since like 3 years ago. That's an idea that's called source code generators. That was an idea from Microsoft, and that's finished in that's used to Copilot inside. Okay, how we can install it? First of all, the thing is very simple. I will be repeat that here is only the use for Visual Studio, not Visual Studio Code, not JetBrains, not other kind of environments, but you can use it in other environments also. In here, you can only add in this extension, GitHub Copilot here, and after that, you can execute it. This is a new version, Visual Studio Essential GitHub Copilot Preview. In this moment, it's a trial that you can review improvement of the functionalization, the features for the previous version of Copilot. Okay, after that, you have to complete the accept the activation, create the copy the activation code, calling this session, and you have to enable or activate the device that you are connecting. When do you execute this connection? In your session, for example, in my laptop, my office laptop, I have to do this. But if I try to do the same in my personal laptop, I have to do the same because you are authenticating your device, okay, not your session. That's a different things. Because if I understood well, they are doing a peer-to-peer connection between your computer and the GitHub Copilot service. Okay, so after this, it's pretty simple. Just only authorize the GitHub Copilot plugin to connecting. And after that, you have, okay, everything looks good. And after that, you can see in Visual Studio, you can verify that you can get it here, the Copilot icon at the end of the session here. At the end, you can open Copilot and see what is the interaction that you have here. Okay, so what we can do with Copilot things, for example, there's a simple example that we can do. We can convert comments to code. You are writing some prompts in a normal way that you are doing as you chat with another person. That's the idea with this prompt, is that's to be very clear with the specification that you want. Okay, as you can see here, we are creating a new variable environment. Okay, and this is pretty simple to execute it. This is the most important way that you are connecting using your natural language to execute some or generate some kind of code. The other things is very, very, very important things here is the most awful thing that the developer doesn't want to create unit testing, okay? Because there are repetitive, is all the time have to do all the time. And with this implementation, you can create your own developer, your own unit testing, okay? That is Copilot analyze your current code into the unit test project that was linked with the project that you want to test, and they analyze the code inside and generate an approach about that what could be your normal unit testing. There are more other things that you can do here, and like I said, Copilot, you need to train your that the first strike that Copilot give you, that's not the best approach. Okay, so you have to try it many times, and after that you have to choose what is your best option in that. That's the thing that maybe we are not that's a normal behavior, because we are expecting that Copilot suggests the best option. No, that suggests the option that could analyze inside your code and the other public repositories related with the code. Sometimes can take a little time, okay, but other times, if you are training with your code, can take only seconds, but for the other hand, can take 10, 30 seconds to reply some order. And the last one, oh, sorry. The last one, where are the last one? Oh, I get that, I'll lose it. Okay, I missed one. No, that was put it here, sorry. And the last one is you can create SQL queries as a normal generation queries that you can do here, okay? And you can include only retrieve information and getting that. And in this case, you can see that you are getting this information as a function that you can include. Okay, and the last question that's we replied before, that's not free really. At the beginning was free, okay, just only for trial. And if you want to use Copilot, you have to pay. You can use a trial for 30 days, but in that case, you have to configure your GitHub account, put it some payment method in your account, and after that, you can enable all this kind of process. And at the end of the trial, you have to start to pay. In this case, you need to pay $10 per month, or 100 per year. And there are some difference between the individual and for the Copilot business. The Copilot business has a little other things related with that, more services, directly connection, and a specific version of Copilot service for you, and that other things, support, many other things related. But in this case, you have to pay $19 per user per month. Okay, so if you want to use in the whole company, you need money and pay for that kind of thing. Okay, so let me show you how this thing works. I prepared a couple of suggestions here. First of all, I prepared a normal project here before to enable Copilot, that we can see what the intelligence code has enabled when you have to use, when you are not using Copilot. So in this case, for example, I had three possible scenarios. First of all, it's a normal console application. So in this case, I disable Copilot to see here. Okay, in this session, I disabled Copilot. I haven't not installed it yet because I want to show you what we can do using Copilot. So in this case, for example, you can see, online. You can see here, the version for Copilot, the trial version directly from Microsoft. Okay, so let me show you what we are doing. So in a normal console application, for example, by default, the new version for Visual Studio, since the version 17.4.4, that is the version that the Copilot needs to start to use. For the previous versions, that's not enabled. I tried to execute it in my version for my laptop. I have to update my version for Visual Studio, because for the previous version, that's not possible inside Copilot. That is not compatible with that version. So the first thing that you have to validate for this thing is review that the version of your Visual Studio is greater than 17.4.4. Okay, is the first thing that you have to validate here. And after that, okay, you can check your extension and install Copilot. But I want to show you first thing, the new versions of Visual Studio has an improvement of the IntelliSense things and suggest many code as Copilot do. Okay, so in this case, you can try to execute something like this. Create a function. To zoom to numbers, for example. As we are expecting something like this, but as you see, we don't have any change in this case, okay? Because we are not enabled Copilot. We are expecting that things is included. But if you do something like this as a normal in A as 1, in B as 2, okay, you can see that there are some improvements here. You can see there are a lot of improvement of the IntelliSense complete. That's the other thing that you can put it here. IntelliSense code completions helps a lot of this kind of things. So I did disable this Copilot because I want to show you that the thing is not doing by IntelliSense code completed. Okay. So in this case, let me enable my Copilot extension here. And with this, I will be show you what happening in this case. Okay, remember that every time that you do that extension things, you need to restart the Visual Studio. That's not happening in Visual Studio Code. That's not a problem. But here we need to do that because, as I mentioned before, that has to do some changes internal of the Visual Studio. This can take a little time. I will not use the new version for the trial. That's I used it before. That had some real improvements on these kind of things. But for the default version that here, you can do that. The new version for the trial as a Microsoft, like you see 2 versions there, the new version included a chat as a chat GPT normal. So you can chat it to them inside the Copilot window, okay, that I will be show you later. And in that chat, you can ask, okay, improvement this code, or give me a new version for this implementation, or explain me what this code does. So in that window for Copilot, you can interact directly with the ChatGPT. In this case, the OpenAI codex. Okay, so here, let me restart the Copilot POC. So in this case, as I mentioned before, I have 3 scenarios, and I will be show you a couple of things that we can do with Copilot. Okay, so here you can see that something happens here. Okay, and now we have Copilot enabled. The beginning could be takes a little time to complete. Okay, and yeah, hold on a second. If it's your first time to do this, here appear a message that you have to log in to your session and enable your GitHub authentication authorization for your connection. Yeah, that the thing happened. And remember that you are including here in your session here your connectivity for this kind of things. Okay, I will be not use it right now. Okay, but have here. So what happened here? This is the mention. This is the Copilot window that you can see. Sometimes you can see the callings that Copilot does for execution. For example, here you can see he's thinking that I need a web application creation because he detects that automatically I have an API and test. So he is thinking that I want to execute a call for my API from my console application to test some behavior, for example. I don't touch my keyboard. That's automatically execute a code. And if I want to accept this solution, just only see here. So here there are a couple of things that's here validating. There are other versions that you can use. Okay, he recommends a lot of things and maybe he thinks that you want to do with this console application. Okay, That's a normal behavior. You can see what is happening here. Okay. Well, if I don't want it to accept this, just only escape for that. And in my case, I want to show what is happened. Remember that I was trying to execute here a couple of things. So let me bring it here. I have here. Okay. The first thing I want to do is, okay, in this case, create a function to sum that two numbers. So I will be put it here. That needs something like this. So the idea is he needs to receive what is the command for that line, and after that he can analyze what is the language and what is the thing that you want to do here, and after that just only to do these kind of things. Okay, but this is a normal operation. But what happened, and after that he thinks that you need to do other operations, and he start to suggest other things. So if you continue with this, okay, he tried to execute that things. For example, in this case, he included 3 because I did previous this operation. I did this with 2 and 3 numbers. So I guess that he is thinking that I want to do the same. So he's learning about my behavior and included that kind of things. If you are agree with that, you can do this, and if he thinks that maybe wants to do more, or you can change that kind of things. Okay, and after this, for example, you can see something different here. That's another simple operation. You can include more operation in natural language, for example, like this. So I'm including this, my behavior here, okay? And I'm trying to expecting that he try to resolve this operation and say, okay, that is, as you can see, it's take a little seconds, okay? That's not automatically or directly execution, okay? Just we need to review that things happen. And here you can see that they are reviewing some of those operations that maybe we need to validate in that case, okay? And sometimes you can, if you are not agree with that operation, you say, okay, no, escape. Give me another operation, escape. No, that's not good. That's a couple of things. And after a long time here, you're trying to generate a new version, he starts to suggest other links. He suggests, for example, okay, review this link in Stack Overflow, or review other link in Code Project, or review this link and Easy Code. That's another way that Copilot try to help us, including here. And as you can see, that the code generated here, okay, is not the base code in that way, but this could be good sometimes, because, for example, here you can see maybe you are including different operations. If you need to change this for not a string, maybe using a list or something like that, you have to do your own code, own changes on the code. And after this, for example, you need to include this kind of operation here. Okay, this is the normal things. That's Copilot doesn't complete the reference to another project, doesn't complete download other NuGet packages. No, just only get the code and include the code inside your current IDE that you are doing here. Okay, this is the normal thing that you can do here. But what happened with a normal thing that maybe we are doing here? Okay, as you can see, I did a model here. For example, I have a SQLite database that's including this kind of fields. The table is person. We have first name, last name, date of birth, and sex. We have these values here. Okay, that's the thing that I have on my database right now. And I did this implementation for this class. Okay, and also I did this my implementation for the context. Okay, this is a normal configuration. I did the configuration for my connection string, and also I did my changes for program to connect. When I did this, I doesn't know that we can do it directly with Copilot. I was thinking that's only try to generate some changes and to do my changes my own. But for example, if I want to do something like this, I want to create a new class, and the class call it, for example, student. Okay. Here I can use Copilot, for example, to create my own class. Then I can do create a new, you can see new class, new student class with the following properties, and I put ID, first name, last name, at age, or I can say, okay, int name string. You can see, and in this case, for example, when I do this, that's automatically generate that kind of things. That's do for me. Okay, I didn't know that what after at the end of the exercise, but when I read this, okay, I will be could do it in that way. Okay. Well,
Actually, Julio, Copilot is very good making abstractions, so you can create different classes. And even if you are making, for example, you're going to make inheritance, it is able to detect if there is some
totally.
relation between the name of the classes. For example, if you are creating an abstraction of an animal, so you create a class animal, and then you're going to create, for example, a class dog. It is going to be, it is able to say, okay, dog is a kind of animal, so it can suggest, can make inheritance to the class animal,
Totally.
for example.
Yeah, Copilot analyze your code and offer the best option that he thinks that could be your option that you are trying to find. Okay. Well, in this case, I will be delete this to doesn't inject some error maybe here. Okay. So in this case, I want to show you a couple of things. What happened with this operation? Let me remove this. And in a normal operation, what we have to do for a new controller, for example, when we create a new controller, we use the wizard for that. So we can come here, say, okay, I want to add a new controller. Okay, say, okay, it's a new API. For example, in this case, a controller with using Entity Framework. So add, I get in the wizard. So here I get it person as my model class, my DB contest, and people controller put it here. Okay. So in this case, what we are doing, we are using the wizards for the thing. But you can see what happened inside. Could you see it? Before that, we generated that code. That's passed this operation through Copilot, and Copilot included as you are analyzing the code. Okay. Why that things happen? Because when Copilot analyze your code, try to reference what do you want to do a new version of this. Okay. So in this case, you can see that's a normal operation that works in a normal process here. I will be change this execution as up. So in this case, and let me check that everything's working fine for this. So in this case, I will be use a normal execution and normal generation for an default API. Okay. So here, what we are doing. So for example, getting people, and I'm expected that retrieve 10 records in this case. Okay, yeah, that's working fine. Okay, you can see I have all the operation or the default operation that we have for so in this case we have the get, the pause, the put, the get by ID, or the delete. Okay, so but what happened if you want to, for example, create an special operation? For example, so in this case, as you know, all things that maybe we have to use is an operation that we want to try as this. How this thing works? Okay, for example, this. If you get it this here, suppose that you don't want it use the code as this. Okay, so if I do something like this, and I put it this code as a creation, okay. So that's maybe starts to suggest me something like this. Weird. Okay. Okay. Let me check something. I'm not sure. Yeah. Let me see it. Yeah. So in this case, let me try again. When we start to create a new something new operation, for example, we can create a new empty controller. Just only start to add the operations that you only want. Not needs to generate the default and after that delete the other operation that you doesn't want it. So in this case, if you have exactly the thing that you want to do, okay, you only have to add it. As you can see here, look at the generation for the wizard is exactly the generation for the ChatGPT Copilot. Well, internally using ChatGPT or OpenAI. Okay, and after that you can use it something like this also. Okay, to generate the same operation. So let me put in here. Okay, so he started to suggest me this operation, and after that do the same implementation. You can see. So in that case, you can generate a default empty controller, and you can do it only your specific things. But you can do something very special things here. For example, something like this. If I want to do by page, so what happened in this case? Okay. So in this case, I will put it this. Let me check by page. Yep. He's trying to figure out what happened in this case. But if I don't agree with this implementation, for example, I say no. By page number or using the context or using items using pagination, for example. Let me try. Pagination. Okay, I'm filtering, for example. Does that suggest me this? Okay. Let me see it. Okay. That maybe can take a little more time here. Okay, but in that case, I'm not agree with this. You can see that I'm not agree. I'm expecting to an execution using a skip and limit inside. So if I want to change that kind of things.
So you need to be more specific, right? For
Yeah,
example, saying using skip and take.
Using skip and
take.
take methods. Yeah, that's okay. I'm expecting this. I'm expecting this. Voila. Yeah, that's the thing that I want to get. If you want something specific, you have to start to be specific. Okay? If you are generic, sometimes you are lucky and get it the implementation that you want. But if you are not agree with that, you have to start to be more specific and more and more and more. And after that, you can say, okay, that's the thing that I want to in this case. Okay? Well, and the other things that maybe we can do. Let me see what it is. Person is not here. Ooh, what? Can I please convert? Okay. So there are an error here. I'm not sure. So return person. What? Okay. Okay. That's getting, you can see I'm getting an error. That's the problem is that's can I implicit convert list to action result. Okay. I got you. Okay. So let me see that's maybe things happen. Okay. Will we try to check this operation? Okay, I have here normal people here. I'm expecting the execution. Yeah, are the same. Just only getting one specific ID. I'm getting the first record. It's working fine. Okay, and the last one, I'm expecting the page number 1, and I'm getting for 5. I have 10 records, so I'm expecting the page number 2, for example. Now page number 1 is okay to getting that. Okay, so here I'm retrieving for the okay, that's getting from starting with the second page really. If I want to page number 0, yeah, I'm starting with the 1. Okay, as you can see here, that's working fine. Okay, and you, if you want to, as I mentioned before, you want to something specific, you have to prompt, create your prompt very specific. Okay, and the other thing that you can do here is the unit tests. So in this case, you can come here about your unit tests, and you only have to start a new test. Okay, and you can see he's recommend by default my first test about the controller. Okay, you see I don't touch anything. He's automatically to try to generate some code that maybe I want to start to use. Okay, so in this case I can do something like this, and let me change this. For example, if I want to create something like this, public async tags, and in this case I want to get, oh sorry, no, the other one is get person. Let me check if I I can, these things, yeah, you can see. So automatically, he can detect what is my, oh no, doesn't do.
You need to add the DB
Yeah,
context.
no,
Yep.
he did it here. Yeah, I need to do some changes here. But the thing that I want to show you here, by default, he generated this, okay? But what happened if I come here, change name person by page? I don't know. That's the thing that I want to do. So let me try again. Okay, the same thing. You have put by page. Oh yeah, you can see here I'm calling the get person by page. Automatically he generate that thing. Obviously I can move this to the normal setup. I have to create the controller variable and everything related with that. And what that things happen, I'm expecting that this operation could be more simplified in that case. I didn't that example in this case, okay? But as you can see, the thing that I want to show you is that when the things happen here, okay, you are generating some code very automatically, and the thing that you can do here is pretty similar to the things you have to use here. Let me try to figure out, for example, other operation. Let me see what happened when I come here and create my unit test. Okay. Okay. Here I only have this by default framework, the old framework. Okay, I need to change this for the project. Okay, this is for the old version, not for end unit tests. Maybe I need to do some changes included. Okay, regarding with the other things, if you do some changes here, let me try to figure out that maybe we can try to do. Let me add in this framework, try to fix the errors with this, including the context, including the people controller, okay, including the library for, oh, this
For
is
SQLite.
in memory. Yeah, no, no, because it's using memory. I have to add in the library SQL here. I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, that's never mind. That's the thing. If you complete well your code for that kind of things, the generation for the new unit testings could be very simple. You only have to include the code for the method that you want to test, and automatically you can use your code directly, and he can analyze what the thing that you are doing inside and use a best way that you have to include it here in that case. Yeah, guys, that's the thing that I want to share with you. Expect that's pretty simple things that I'm gonna mention before. I don't know if you have some question or something like that. I'm open that you're try to contact me and try to solve some question that you have. Any questions, Steak?
I have a question. I think probably it could be a dumb question. So when you activate
Any
Copilot,
question is done.
okay, okay, when you activate Copilot and you really want to comment something, how can you differentiate that you're generating a comment instead of generating a query to Copilot? Is there a way to do it?
Let me check. I think that's normal thing. If you come here.
Because I see when you make the comment, it's going to create
because you
the
are
code.
including natural language, for example, here. Okay. If you remember, the comments in this case show the clean code principle. The comment is only necessary
Yes.
when you want to add something that the code doesn't try to explain. Okay. So in this case, the operation that you have to do here is include the summary. Okay, that's a good question. That's I get this as an error because I'm expecting here generate by default comments. You can see it doesn't happen. Blah blah blah.
Because basically when you make a comment, you're using your natural language actually. Because you're trying to make some description of the method or something that you need to keep in mind. So I think that when you put a comment, if you activate Copilot, it always is going to generate some code.
Yeah, I didn't that change. Let me see if maybe no. That's I don't know. That's a good question. Good question. Because
I think
that's
it's probably
something
dumb
related with that.
question because it's not so relevant, but it's kind of weird, right?
Yeah, by default, in a normal thing, this is a comment, but this is another comment. That's try to always suggest that the thing. I
What if
guess
you put,
I
for
get that the
example,
reason. Sorry,
go ahead.
go ahead.
What if you put, for example, on the 15 line above the description of low CSV method? It is going to create another one?
Here?
No,
Oh no, here.
above, yeah. Put a comment, for example, saying what the load CSV method does. This is a method to
What?
method to read to load a CSV file, for example, and let's see what happens. In this case, to load is not to read. This could be a kind of comment that you're going to put in.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trying to put a comment, and that things happen. He doesn't. Oh, there are a couple of things. If you
typo.
have some typos, he cannot analyze the thing that you are doing.
Remove the final S,
So
please, from method word.
I'm gonna see what happened here. Parampath CSV file. Okay, look at this. JSON, something like that. This included like Javadoc documentation here. It's generating a comment inside using Javadoc or Doxygen methodology for this case. Yeah, good question. I have to review that. I didn't check that before. That's good. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. I don't know how to disable Copilot, and you can see that's the thing that's not mention anything. Okay, another question, guys.
Questions.
I have a question about if you have an old project and you use Copilot in your Visual Studio, when you open again this project, Copilot will start to review all the code and suggest another things, or not, or you need to start review that.
Yeah, let me show you. Oops. Come here. Come with my repositories. And yeah, we can open it this, for example. This is the same project that we are doing. This is a different project. And let me show you what happened here. checking here at the lights. Hold on a second. I want to show you something here. And look at what happened. Running. Oh, let me come here. For example, it's the same method that we did before. Let me try to figure out. For example, here. Okay. I do get. Oh, you see. Okay. Get API. Let me see if I can do. Oh, he's taking a little time in those cases. I didn't test that really. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't analyzing this, but yeah, if you can see, I have Copilot enabled, and it starts to analyze. When you compile at your first time, you can see at the first thing, or even when you are loading the project. I didn't see here, but I remember. I don't remember if it is in the compilation time or in the loading file. The Copilot analyze the code at the first time, and after that you can start to use it. I don't know if he is generating some cookies or something like that for your code, but for the next compilation, he doesn't review. He can knows exactly if you are doing some changes. Oh, if you are connecting to GitHub, he knows exactly when you are doing some changes. That's the other thing that I forgot to mention. And that case, I don't know if we can help you with the GitHub operations, the push or something like that. But yeah, as you can see here, I have these operations as a normal, and adding new methods using Copilot, and totally works. This is an old project. If I do the same for the other things, meanwhile, I have enabled Copilot as an extension here. It's working. You don't need it. A couple of things. You can enable both this version and the other version for Copilot. And in this version, like I mentioned before, you can see more. This is a new version. You can see more helps, more other things of support, but you have to be subscribed on a wait list for the release of this version. This is a trial version. For the new operations, you have some services for the new version, but doesn't include the chat inside, because we are expecting here, including the chat at the end here, that you have here, write the code or write the prompt that you are expecting, and doesn't change the code inside. You only change the code here, and you say, okay, I accept this change, and automatically here put the code. Maybe that's the thing that's Edison mentioned. Doesn't happen because you are interacting with a chat, not directly with your code. That's some users are disagree with that, because you are inviting your code. You are changing directly your code to do that things. Some users are disagree, other users are agree. I don't know. For my perspective, if helps in different ways, that could be good. Other question, guys? No? Okay. Thanks a lot for your time, guys. I'm expecting that maybe you can start to check this operation. Yep. You are invited to, remember, you are invited to share your knowledge. Here is share your knowledge and knowledge to share. That's all for today. Thanks a lot, everybody. See you later.
Thank you, Julio.
Okay.
Thank you, Julio.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.